This playthrough is rated M for mature.
Greetings and salutations, viewers. Vauldemare back here with another episode of Will, A Wonderful World. In the last episode, Carlos won a card game and got himself out of prison. And it looks like the three amigos are on their own. Except, who's this third person now? I wonder. I think I have a feeling, folks, of who this is going to be. Because the blonde-haired man who's been still question mark, because we haven't got a name to, although we know who it is, but we're going to, well, actually, I spoiled it a little bit earlier, because we're going to find out today who that character is that ties into each other. If you haven't already figured it out, I'm kind of surprised, but let's talk to the new character first.
My name is written in as Tachibana Hataru as on my passport, but most people knew me as Hataru. It was also my moniker. It had been written in hiragana and hung over the door in my room in the Okiya. The Geisha Okiya, located in Shinjuku 4 Chrome in Tokyo, was where I grew up. On the moonless night, I still a newborn baby, had been left at the back door of the Okiya. I was wrapped in a piece of plain white cloth, and there was a glass jar with fireflies in it next to me. The faint blinking lights of the fireflies, Hotaru, had grabbed the attention of the sister that was coming back late. That was how I got my name. Since then, the sisters in the Okiya had become my family. And that day, July 9th, became my birthday. I had shown a talent for dancing and performance since I was very young. The mama of the Okiya wanted to send me away to kabuki school, but I didn't want to leave Okiya. After some arguments and compromise, I became a male geisha. It was not something particularly uncommon in the past, but in contemporary Japan it was almost unheard of. Still, rules were made by people. For a long time, a paper fan, a kimono, and a shamashan and my family were the entirety of my world, until I met the savior of my life. It was a stormy evening. Kazumi Kai was holding a banquet at our place, welcoming some guests who had come all the way from China. Menacing bodyguards in black suits were everywhere, from the gate to the backyard. All of them had a suspicious bulge on their waists. I was told those were concealed guns. Kazumi Kai was both a stakeholder in and the protector of Okiya. It was also the most powerful gang in the Shinjuku area. The Okiya had prepared many performances for this night. No mistakes would be allowed. The opening act was the Plume Blossom Creek, a dance I had performed numerous times before. However, on that night, I had caught a little cold. I wasn't feeling too well. It was atmosphere feeling so tense in the room. I was so nervous that I accidentally flung the fan out of my hand in the middle of the dance. The fan hit the head of a guest. It then fell into the boiling beef pot in front of him. The entire room became deadly silent, but a young Chinese boy sitting at the corner of the table burst out laughing. Kazumi Kai's men were outraged. I immediately dropped to my knees and begged for forgiveness. I was trembling from head to toe, too scared to even look up. One of them had already released the safety on his gun when the laughing young man said something. I couldn't understand what he had said, but it must have been something nice. He became the savior of my life. Our story had a fairy tale beginning, but we didn't get to have the best ending. 2 years ago, he died. I only heard about it later, by accident, from some other customer. They also said that it had been a suicide. It couldn't be possible. I began to regret a lot of things. It was always him who would come to Japan to visit me, but I had never gone to Hong Kong to visit him. We could only meet 2 or 3 times a year, and only for a few days each time. He would never tell me in advance, so every time was always a surprise. Sometimes I would fantasize about it when he was not with me. I would think to myself, but maybe he was in Japan. Maybe he would suddenly appear in front of me. The last time he came to see me, I was on a trip to Tori with the sisters, so we missed each other. But I never would have thought it would be my last chance to ever see him. He killed himself while I was away. I couldn't let him die like this. Against the objections from my sisters, I packed all my belongings and savings and came to Hong Kong. I finally managed to find his housekeeper, who had always looked after him. The housekeeper complained to Japan a couple of times. We met a few times, and I knew I could trust him. He told me that he had never believed that his young master would have committed suicide. He knew somebody who wanted the young master dead, but he didn't have enough proof. Are you starting to see the picture, viewers? The Lin family was a huge clan that had grown to have too many factions and fighting. Spoiled a little bit too soon. Yeah, the guy Alicia saw walk into the ocean was Hotaro's lover. If you wanted someone gone, you either made sure you had sufficient evidence against him or you killed them. Was that somebody responsible? To find out the truth, I need more information and more money. After spending some time on the street looking for clues, I had an idea. I bribed a few cops to arrest me for something made up, just so that I could be sent to Hong Kong Central Prison. Is that why he had such a good standing with a lot of people? Because he basically wanted to be in there, and because of his standing and whatnot? In here, not only would they take care of my room and board, I could make more money and collect more information with my special gift. Everyone in the prison had their own value to me. Some of them were worth a few $100 I could win off them in a bet. Others might have power connections that could help me get closer to the truth. The drunken, barely coherent prison guard, who was standing in front of me right this moment, fell into the latter group. His name was Morgan.
We were not just together. Did you already miss me, sweet baby?
He was supposed to be doing the roll call tonight, so I had gotten him drunk earlier, hoping he would be sleeping it off. Who knew that he would be wondering doing drugs again? His deeply sedated brain was probably making him unable to think anymore. Nevertheless, him being here was still a problem for us. I had to be calm. I pulled my cap lower. Care for a drink?
Hold on
one second.
Hold on one second.
Morgan unzipped his pants and started doing his thing without even turning away. Oh no. That was... Oh god. I heard someone cough under the window. Carlos, you idiot! We were so screwed. I should not have agreed to help that idiot escape. I had been in cell 28 for a long time. At first it was just me. Soon I found the hole into the bottom bunk bed, which was big enough for one person to escape. Perhaps somebody else had tried to escape from here, but for some reason he had to abort, therefore leaving the hole behind like this and without being discovered by the guards. I thought it was a blessing from the gods, gifting me with an exit strategy like this. Once I had enough money, I could just disappear without a trace. I had never revealed this secret to anyone else. Never would I imagine that my plan would be ruined by someone like Carlos. I didn't even know that he would want to switch me out of the cell after winning the card game. I had no choice but to tell him the truth. One thing led to another and ended up being a prison break involving 3 people. Damn it, I should not have told him. I should have just made up some other excuse. Taro.
Yep. Well, there's the Taro. So, and thus Final Fantasy, good game, and thus we finally get the man's name Pi, which I spoiled a couple episodes. Sorry, but yeah, it was pretty obvious that that was Pi. My name is Pi. It is not my real name, but everyone kept calling me that, so I decided to take it. Sometimes I wondered if God and fortune had abandoned me, but I knew there were many people in this world who might be as unfortunate as me, or maybe even more so. I was determined to look for them and approach them and seek out the culprit who had turned their lives into living nightmares. I would never be a god, but I was a deliverer of God's punishment. Evil deserved to be punished, and the unfortunate deserved to be salvaged. As for the sin of revenge, let me be the sole bearer of its wrath. However, I had begun to gradually realize that the evil in its humans was almost like bacteria or a virus that could be everywhere. They could dwell in the dark, humid, disgusting back alley, or loud, ecstatic pub, or a joyful, innocent elementary school. I could still remember the lust in that PE teacher's eyes when he had mentioned his students. It was sickening. It was stomach-turning. Even though I kept eliminating them one after another, I always ended up running into the next foul bastard hiding in another invasive corner of the city. I finally came to one conclusion after my activities had been published in the papers. Instead of tracking them down one by one, a more effective way was to deter them with fear. The last target I had on the outside had been an unemployed young man who had accidentally run into on the street. I picked up the newspaper that he had dropped, and there was a story about someone molesting young children in it. That someone was him. It grabbed my attention, so I decided to follow him for a while. As it turned out, he was clearly not a pedophile. So he knew? He still did all this shit to him? The article was just gossip that had been planted by someone who wanted to slander him. Still, I figured if I left my smiley face signature to this pedophile young man, as the press called him, it would be another viral story in the media for sure. And then the real perverts would certainly think twice before committing any more atrocities. Maybe they would even be scared shitless and wouldn't even dare go outside. Ha 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 ha. My logic was impeccable, but my luck wasn't, and things didn't turn out the way I had planned. Life in prison wasn't so bad. There were plenty of evil men who would receive much less serious sentences than they deserved. Occasionally I would send a couple of them to hell in the name of justice. Wow, you sound like Chang, but a more messed up version of Chang. However, for every day that I had to stay in prison, more evil went unchecked in the world outside. The thoughts made me feel anxious every single day when I was in there. Therefore, the moment I heard Carlos mention prison break, I immediately joined his plan without any hesitation. Today was the day of our escape. I was guessing that we might have run into some trouble. I said guessing because I couldn't see what was going on in the yard from where I was standing. Carlos was supposed to follow Taro through the window, and I would follow them. However, Carlos was still lying on the ledge beneath the window. Since there was only enough space for one person, I tried to hide myself behind the door. So far, only Taro was up in the yard. I had never fully understood that story. If he dared to betray us, I would not let him get away with it. Right at that instant, I heard the footsteps of the prison guards on the night duty. The twins had come back from their patrol. The door squeaked as it had been pushed open. I held him tightly. There was a syringe in his hand. I choked the neck of the guard in front, but I didn't want to kill either of them. There was no reason to punish them. Besides, as long as I could get out of here, there would be nothing they could do about me. I was too careless. This man was much stronger than I thought, even as strong as you are and everything. Or apparently are. When my chokehold just barely loosened up for an instant, he reached his arm backwards and stabbed me in the neck with the syringe in his hand. It somehow felt familiar to me. Wait, so... Ow! So this is what I've been doing to people? Man, I deserve to be in here. Only this time it wasn't poisonous syringe, it was a strong hallucinogen. Help me while I kiss the sky. Do 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 do. Or hallucinating the sky with diamonds. Everything before my eyes suddenly began to look bent and twisted. All the shapes were tangled together, and then untangled, and restricted again, and then morphed into emptiness. It's Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. There was only me left, standing in the center of a dark vacuum. A man emerged from the dark. He walked towards me, stopped in front of me, looking down at me coldly. He had an oily dark hair and a round belly. He was carrying an empty beer bottle. He could barely stand. Where's your mother? Did she go to Alex's again? I felt something familiar yet strange growing in my heart. Who's Alex? I wonder. But who was this person? My splitting headache started up again as if someone was squeezing my brain. My brain! I kept enduring the pain in my head and pulled out an imaginary gun. I pointed at the oily-haired man and pulled the trigger. Pulled the trigger, now he's dead. I heard a gunshot, but then I found myself holding a cooking knife instead. A bloody knife! That brings me back stories to bad D&D campaigns. The man standing opposite me split into two people. A man and a woman, both blonde hair, blue eyes, who were holding each other intimately. The man seemed a little nervous, while the woman had a smirk on her face. They were looking directly at me. She was also holding a gun in her right hand. It was the same one that had just been in my hand. A wisp of gray smoke was rising from the lip of the barrel. Bastards. Bastard? 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 No. No. I was not a bad child. My brain felt like it was being tumbled with 1,000 knives. Everything started morphing once again. The pain that spread across my entire body, I felt like I was drowning in it. I couldn't distinguish the boundaries between reality and hallucinogens at all anymore. Who on earth were they? Help! Help me! Help! Hi. Have you figured it out yet, viewers? No? I'm surprised you haven't, if that's the case. My name is Carlos. I had planned a prison break not too long ago. Besides me, Pi and Ataro were also involved in the plan. They were both inmates on the Hong Kong Central Prison, just like me. On that night, we overcame lots of obstacles and broke into the module room on the basement floor. We were so close to freedom. The room had a skylight window with 2 layers. The inside layer was just a sliding glass window to keep the dirt out, and on top of that was a window grate to protect the glass. Underneath the window, there was a small ledge that was barely large enough for one person to lie upon. When the weather was nice, the guards would open the glass window for ventilation. That must be why the ledge was covered with dirt. Hataro slid the glass window open, pushed the grate, and climbed out. I was about to follow him, but he turned around, dropped the grate, and stepped on it. What was going on? I was suddenly reminded of what Pi had told me in private. That little shorty is a sneaky bastard. I don't like him at all. This come from the psychopath. When I heard him say that, all I could think was, yeah, you're wanting to talk. Yeah, exactly. I figured he only disliked Hataro for the same reason that he disliked people like Kai, but now I realized he might have a point. Hataro, should we trust him? I would not be surprised if he betrayed us right this moment. I lay down on the ledge. Through the glass, I could see another dark figure joining Hataro, but I couldn't tell who that was. It was probably a prison guard. No other people would be in the yard at this hour of the day. Hataro was talking to the person. Even though there was only a grate between us, they were speaking so quietly that I still couldn't hear what they were saying. Shouldn't the guard be suspicious about Hataro being here? Or maybe Hataro was close enough to him that he would just let him go. Or maybe Hataro had planned this all along. The dark figure moved a little. He unzipped his pants and let out a deep breath. Damn it! A stream of foul-smelling yellow liquid suddenly ran down my head and through the grate. And it kept going. What the hell was that? Why would anyone pee in public like this? I finally couldn't tolerate the smell anymore and let out a cough. The guard noticed me. 2 minutes later, surrounded by a dozen prison guards, I was pulled up to the ground through the window. I finally saw the face of the other man. It was Morgan! Well, they were going to sell alcohol with us or whatever. After our escape failed, we were all sent to solitary cells. I learned later that Morgan was a drug addict. It was pure coincidence for us to run into him on that fateful night. Morgan had been out walking that night, high as a kite. I didn't even realize that Taro was trying to escape when he saw him. It was me who ruined the whole thing. If I could have kept quiet, we might have been able to make it. What would I have spent my whole life in prison? Cowards. So now we got, and from what you can tell, we've got our first 3-person thing. I wonder if there's any more of that throughout the game, or if this is the only one. Huh. Well, I guess we'll just have to figure it out. Okay, so this is going to be interesting. Alright, what does everyone got? Let's see, 7, and... Okay, so they're all tied to each other. Are they all the same block, too? Yep, so, okay, that makes it a little bit easier. So whatever we choose, and if we lock something, we're probably going to lock the same exact ending with all the other characters. Likely. Most likely, anyway. Okay. This is going to be interesting. I wonder if you could put them all in one person, just curious. Oh, you can. That's going to be interesting. But let's not do that yet, anyway. I might do that here in a second. I feel like doing that, though, with so many options, I feel like that's not going to... it's not going to, oh, what's the word? It's going to just blank out some of them or whatever. Oh, but I need to do something with that. See if that does anything. Now, maybe this might be a bit more complicated, because if you solve one, I assume you're going to get a lot of the others, but anyway. I chose the neck of the guard in front, but I didn't want to kill either of them. There was no reason. Okay. But my fists were no match for a gun. While I was struggling with the one guard, the other twin walked into the room.
Hey, what are you doing?
He pulled out his gun and shot me in my shoulder. A staggering pain spread through my whole body from my shoulder. I had to let go of his brother and stumble back, leaning against the wall. In the end, the other two were not able to escape either. The plan ended up being a total failure. A syringe fell out of my hand. It went through the grate and somehow jabbed right into my shoulder. Wow. Wait, did you get stabbed by the drug addict's, like, syringe or whatever? I felt a pain. Oh, the LS, or the hallucinogen, whatever. I felt a chill spreading through the needle into my entire body. I closed my eyes and opened them again. I was lying in a clean but strange house. Alicia was sitting upon my bed, looking at me, caressing my hair, just like she used to. I had not seen her for 9 years. She stood so beautiful, so young. 9 years? Wow, that's the difference between the two stories, huh? Alicia, I miss you. Even though I knew it wasn't real, I still couldn't control myself from calling out to her. That was how powerful the drug was. When I came to my senses again, I was lying in the medical room of the prison. I'd finally realized that the plan had failed.
Hold on 1 second.
Hold on 1 second.
Morgan took out a syringe and aimed at his arm, but the needle did not go into his arm. He dropped it. Oh no! That was... Oh god. Just when Morgan was wondering where the syringe had gone, voices came from under the window. Carlos, you idiot! We were so screwed.
Okay, so I don't know if that one's going to be... Is that going to be the same number for all of them? Well, sort of, anyway. This is going to be more complicated than I realized. Just because of the... Because it wasn't even the same one for all of them. It was a slightly bit different, so... Let's see. Let's try that. I held my breath, pushed my back against the wall, and grabbed the door lightly with my hands. As soon as he took 1 step more, I would... But the man stopped, and then I heard the sound of liquid dripping down the ground. I saw a stream of something yellow through a crack in the door. It was painting a peculiar map on the ground, set to the guards whistling. The prison was a place that was filled with all kinds of perversion and the twisted mentality of society. Some of the guards were eventually developed some nasty habits as coping mechanisms to release some of the stress. Sometimes literally. The foul smell from the map was making me dizzy. My mind was trying its best to control myself at this crucial moment, but my body betrayed me and I simply could not stand the disgusting sight I had just witnessed. I threw up. Blech. The undigested dinner was now mixed with the yellow puddle on the ground, turning it into a newer and bigger map. It also ended our prison break. I saw the figure put an arm around Hataro's shoulder and say something to him. However, I couldn't hear anything as he was too quiet. Right at that moment, I heard gunshots coming from the door of the monitor room.
Let go!
I pulled him closer to me and led him to a dark... let go!
I pulled him closer to me and led him to a dark corner. This way, Morgan would not notice the 2 other people climbing out of the window. Besides, I had one last request before leaving. The photo that you showed me earlier. Can I see it again? He stared blankly at me. It took him a while to understand what I was referring to. He put his hand inside his jacket. Then a gunshot came from the monitor room. It wasn't loud, but Morgan clearly heard it. What the hell were they 2 doing in there? We were so screwed. Looks like most of his is going to be here, so screwed stories. There we go. At least roughly we're getting like a
Let's see. What happens if I just just swap theirs out and see, and then let's try that. Nothing. Maybe if I swap that, does that give me anything? Oh, that gives me something with those two at least. Wait, shouldn't there always be a variation to the story for... whatever. I held my breath and put my back against the wall. I grabbed the door lightly with my hands. As soon as I took one more step, I would... But the man stopped. I peeked through the crack in the door and saw the guard in front turning back to his brother and asked, "Which one?" "It's the new bar in Boy Road. You haven't been there, have you?" "No, have you?" "Of course not. I heard it from Morgan. He said the girls there were super hot. Super hot. And... oh, that sounds like fun. The subject seemed to have decided the twins a lot. Their footsteps continued again just outside the door, only this time they were getting farther away from me. I walked back to the skylight window and I saw Carlos being pulled up through the window while mumbling something. There were also many more people outside. The plan ended up being a total failure. A syringe fell out of his hand. It went through the grate and someone stabbed me in my shoulder. Oh, okay, that's the same. Hey, what are you looking at? It's probably pie or whatever. Hey, what are you looking at, Carlos? I closed my eyes and opened them again. Yeah, I was sitting in a huge bright white bath. Alicia was giving me a bath and rinsing my hair. I had not seen her for 9 years. She still looked so beautiful. The shampoo smelled so nice, and the water felt just right. The bubbling water came down from my hair and accidentally went into my nose and mouth. I coughed a little. For whatever reason, more and more people showed up in the bathhouse. Some of them were still wearing clothes. One of them pushed me off of my stool. When I fell to the ground, I saw that Alicia had disappeared. When I came to my senses once again, I was lying in the medical room of the prison. I finally realized that the plan had failed. But yeah, one guy's thing. Maybe if I just move some stuff around, it'll give me something. There we go. Let's try. Yeah. Let's try. Huh. Well, that's weird. That I had like one different ending from without him being involved. Man, this three person. I feel like even if you chose like maybe the right combination for one dude, if you don't do the right combination for someone else, it affects their endings as well. At least that's what it seems like to me, anyway. At least that's how I'm feeling in this. Whoops! Ah, dang it! I didn't mean to press. Why do I keep doing that? Okay. Okay. I'm trying to remember which one I did when I wonder if that. I was about to say. I wonder if just swapping him, hitting some things out with him, just did something. Damn it! Thank God I had this hat on me. Otherwise, ew. The guard zipped his pants back up, put an arm around Hataro's shoulders, and said something to him. However, I couldn't hear anything as he was too quiet. Right now, at that moment, I heard gunshots coming from the door of the monitor room. Hold on 1 second. Morgan zipped his pants and started doing his thing without even turning away. Oh no, that was... oh my God. My heart jumped up in my throat. I didn't know how Carlos did it, but unfortunately everything stayed quiet below the window. Thank God. Morgan zipped his pants back up. I pulled him closer to me and led him to a dark corner. Okay, that's the same. Taking two steps before I heard a gunshot come in the monitor room. It wasn't loud, but Morgan clearly heard it. What the hell were those two doing in there? We're so screwed. Okay. Let's see what we... I've almost got all of Carlos's ones finished, at least. For the most part. Okay. Whoops. Okay. Slightly... Alright, hold on. Let me... Whoops. God damn it. Keep fucking pressing the wrong buttons for some reason. Maybe I need to switch those for him or something like that. I put my hands to the gate and grabbed the ankles of the guard. Hataro, run! I didn't know what had come over me to do something like that. The dark figure must have been startled or simply lost his balance. It fell and sat on the ground. But Hataro didn't run. He screamed at the figure on the ground. No, don't do it! He was trying to stop something, and I immediately understood what it was. I finally saw the other person's face in the moonlight. Morgan, the guard from Britain, had drawn his gun and was pointing it at my face under the grate. I heard a gunshot. Something red and warm was dripping onto my face. 070912. 2, 0. I tore away on the metal grate. His breathing was getting weaker and weaker. He kept saying those numbers. Maybe they were passwords to his bank account. Damn it! You shouldn't tell me! You knew I was too dumb to remember it. Yeah.
Morgan tumbled and fell to the ground. I saw a pair of hands grabbing his right ankles.
Run!
I heard a mumble voice come from below. Carlos, you idiot! I still needed him alive. If he died, I wouldn't be able to find that woman. If it wasn't for that, there was no way I would have participated in this stupid escape.
So he knew, but somehow at some point knew that Carlos is related to Alicia.
Before I even realized it, I blocked the window with my own body. I heard a gunshot. Something warm came out of my chest. The sisters used to say that people who smiled a lot would enjoy good fortune, and they would always tell me that I had the prettiest smile in the Okia. So I must be a very, very lucky person. The only thing was I had used up my lifetime share of luck on the night when I met him.
Alright. Now we've got all of Carlos's variations, at least, for the most part. Now we just have to figure out everyone else's because we're still noticing 2 variations from him and 1 from him. Okay, let me... Alright, retry. See if that does anything. No, okay. No. Let's see. Nothing there. This might be a little bit... I was thinking that maybe this might be easy, but now I realize this might be a bit more difficult. No, we got that one at least. I held my breath and pushed my back against the wall. The footsteps were getting closer. I could even hear the... I'm trying to remember what... I would... Man stopped. Shut door. Prison's housings. Oh, they were checking the prison's housing. They mentioned that the check had found all kinds of weapons, gambling chips, and drugs in the cells and public activity room. They even found a dance mat. They lamented that ever since the new warden had been assigned here, Hong Kong Central Prison had become more and more corrupted. Back when Warden Chris was in charge, everything in prison had been running quite smoothly, which, if you don't remember, Alicia killed him. Even though Warden Chris was a strange man, too. These days, nobody here even cared about the inexplicable death of an inmate. If one day something similar happened to some unlucky guard, the twins decided they would be ready to resign just for their own safety. I was still listening when they suddenly stopped talking. A hand appeared at the edge of the door, and they slowly pulled it open. Then I saw a gun pointed right at me through the open door. Which, okay, so... We're close. Let's see, how many... I'm missing 2 of his and 2 of his. Gotta just figure out what their stories were. No. I was trying to see if there's any... Let's see, so what am I missing again? I just have to figure out which... Just have to figure out, like, what, Okay. Now, this one might be slightly longer than I expected, just because, well, we know how to somewhat get the S ending for, him, because we know that he just basically doesn't need to get, he needs to be protected from getting pissed on for one thing, so we just have to figure that out with the other characters as well. So the only thing I'm trying to figure out is, who the other characters have to use. Maybe I'm trying to remember their conversation they had before. This might give me... I think that'll work. Yeah. I think this'll at least get me the S one. The other bad endings will take me a second to figure out. Damn it! Thank God. Oh, see, that's gonna be the same. The guard zipped his pants up and left with the taro. As soon as I couldn't hear them, I pushed open the grate and pulled myself out to the ground. We were almost there. Hold on one second.
Morgan unzipped his pants and started doing his thing without even turning away. I know.
Okay, that was God. My heart jumped to throat. Didn't know Carlos did it, thank God. Morgan zipped his pants back and pulled him closer into the dark corner. Photos showed me. Okay.
Then he pulled his hand inside his jacket and searched for a long time and pulled out a photo. The woman in the photo was wearing a leather jacket and a pair of jeans. She was walking out of a pharmacy and about to put on her sunglasses. The brown face under her cap looked very cold. I was honestly very grateful to Morgan. He had helped me a lot, including finding out the itinerary of my dear friend's last trip to Japan, who he had met and been with during the trip. That was how we found this woman. I figured she was just an assassin, and the person that the housekeeper had mentioned must have paid her. I swore I'd not let either of them get away.
You want more of me, don't you? If so, give me a kiss.
He was good. Half a month ago, Carlos confessed to me that the reason he wanted to escape was to find his sister. He even showed me a picture of her. I just wanted to confirm that it was the same person in both photos, and now I was 100% certain. Morgan grabbed my shoulders. The smell of alcohol and other odors were getting stronger and stronger, enough that it was making me sick. His tall body was leaning towards me, closer and closer. Then he fell to the ground with a thud. I saw a dagger in his back. The blade had sunk deep into his body where his heart was. Pi crouched down and wiped off the blood on his hands with Morgan's clothes, all while having a disgusted expression on his face, probably because he didn't want to kill her. Oh no, probably because he was trying to molest him and all this. Okay. Well, we shouldn't stay here for too long. Follow me. Carlos ran towards the storage room in the corner of the yard. He had hidden some tools there to get over the walls. I looked at Morgan one last time before I followed. The photo was still stuck firmly in his hand. I didn't need it anymore. I would never forget that face. I held my breath, pushed my back against the wall. Let's see, the man stopped. Brother. Maybe I've talked about that before. Super hot. This is from there. Brother. Their footsteps continued again just outside the door, and this time they were further away from me. After we got out of Hong Kong Central Prison, the three of us were all crammed in a car driven by a friend of Carlos. We were driving on the roads that usually didn't have any cops and talking about our plans. Carlos intended to stay in Hong Kong. He had told me a long time ago that he was only escaping to go look for his sister. Ataro was still playing with his phone, and he said that he was going to stay too. I thought about it for a while and finally decided to leave Hong Kong. If I had to guess, the news of me breaking out of prison would soon be broadcast to the entire island. I can imagine the level of expression of those evil people who thought they had escaped my judgment when they heard the news of my going to prison. You know, probably kind of reminds me of Dexter, actually. I never watched the whole show, but, you know, the whole serial killer who had serial killing tendencies, but was utilized to kill other serial killers instead. So it's an interesting concept. I'm trying to remember, because I remember people liking the show, but I heard it kind of like a week ending, or if I remember correctly, but anyway. I had planted the seed of fear in them. They no longer require any extra care from me. The darkness inside human hearts would make sure that it kept growing and blossoming. What it needed to do was plant more seeds all around this vast world. So I got out of the car somewhere near the port. My dear friends, farewell! With the sound of a ship's horn booming between the clouds and the ocean, I climbed up into a cargo ship that was about to set off on its voyage. She should be taking me to the next destination. I hope that I would have more new and interesting encounters in the new, exciting world. So he's gonna go off to wherever and cause chaos for criminals and pedophiles and all that everywhere, huh? Hooray! Yeesh. Anyway, I assume that was our S ending. So yeah. So okay. So you need your last bad ending, and you need your bad ending as well. So okay, let me think. Which combo have I not tried? Let's just do. So unfortunately, it seems like I have to do something with the other characters to get their other variations as well, which is a little annoying, but... hold on one second. So I'm going to turn away. Oh no, that was oh god. Dropped a syringe. Oh, this is from a previous one, because, you know, obviously since I didn't get it right, to make matters worse, he even dropped his syringe in his hands while he was zipping his pants back up. The syringe fell through the grate. I heard someone cough under the window. Carlos, you idiot! Okay, that's all his. Now we just have to get... Pi's. I wonder if this is Pi's final story. I wouldn't be surprised. He does his story kind of just ends, really, when you think about it. So, which is kind of weird for. I wonder if the story explains who he's supposed to be. Well, if the game doesn't, I'll tell you at the very end of the game if you haven't figured it out already. Okay, will that be it? No, I need to do something with. Okay, there we go. Oh, this episode's a little longer than I expected, but we were dealing with 3 people and 3 different reactions, stuff like that.
Grab the door. One more step, I would stop the man, stop, peek through the door. Which one? This one's talking about the bar. Wait for me. I walked back to the skylight window. Carlos was not there anymore. The window was open. Someone was looking down through it, and our eyes met. It was neither Hotaru nor Carlos. It was a guard there. Here. His name was Morgan. Captain Morgan. Alright, that should be it for all that, right? I mean, technically I didn't need to find all those bad endings, but I don't know, my OCD wouldn't allow me to do such a thing, so. Looks like we are... Oh, did it not save it as the S ranks? Looks like we are... If we want to continue our journey, it looks like something has to be changed. Well, looks like it's back to the drawing board for us. So in the next episode, A Wonderful World, I'll try to figure out how to get the next step of the game going and go from there. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.